Hey everybody, welcome back and thank you for watching our Bartender Masterclass. These are short videos that lead to longer podcasts, which are discussions on the theory and practice of tending bar. My name is Michael Neff. This series is focused on mastery. And if you've been watching up till now, then you'll know we've identified different phases of mastery. Mastery of the head, mastery of the hands, and now we're going to talk about mastery of the heart. In 1943, Dr. Abraham Maslow published a paper that identified a series of human needs. At the bottom were more physiological needs and safety. It talks about love and esteem, and then it talks about kind of acceptance, and then it talks about the top. And that's what he called self-actualization, in which other people now over time have identified as flow or a flow state. That idea is what I call mastery of the heart. These flow states were studied by Dr. Abraham Maslow and other people, and they first started applying them to people like composers. Master composers would get into a mind state where they would forget all about everything except what they were creating. So their body and their head and their brain and their minds were all so focused on what they were doing that they were able to kind of tune out everything else and get almost into a state of ecstasy where everything flowed perfectly and all of their attention and all of their being was focused just on what they were creating. That flow state is a state without identity. The brain can only process so much information. Every single neuron that you have available is all dedicated just to what it is that you're doing. People who are truly master what they do can sometimes enter these states of pure creation where nothing else is important and nothing else is noticed because your brain literally can't notice it. How did you know that was the blue one? Dr. Maslow himself said, we can get to heaven, but we can only get there for 5 minutes. Then we have to go back. We can't live in this space. Your brain has other things to do. Mastery of the heart is without identity because your brain can't maintain its identity and also put all of its focus on something else. It's impossible to do. It's why you can't listen to two conversations and follow them both at the same time. And so it has to choose. And when you enter that flow state, you really get into this space where everything just adds up perfectly. But in order to get to that space, you have to get through so many other levels of repetition and lack of ego and all of the different parts that come in mastering the head and the heart. I mean, it's the practice, it's the knowledge, it's the data, it's all of it. And this is the very tip, it's the very apex of mastery. The flow state is an experience of truly losing yourself in an activity of any sort. We're bartenders, so this is what we do. And it's certainly possible for us. And if you ever watch it, it's truly amazing. But if you ever experience it, then you start to get a very different idea of the possibilities of what it is that this job is and what we can do for a living. It's more than an attitude, it's more than a mindset, it transcends those things. It's what Dr. Maslow called peak experience. And peak experience comes with time, it comes with practice, it comes with all of the other things that as you progress in your career and as you progress in your job and as you get better at it, then you have the possibility of having those moments, those magical moments when everything lines up and everything in your brain is aligned. What that does to other people and what that experience is that you can deliver other people is something that cannot be explained, it can only be experienced. In our podcast with Julian Cox, he said something very astute. He said, you cannot train for mastery of the heart, you can only show it. So you can train people and give them information and you can set them on a path of learning, and that's mastery of the head. You can practice and work and tune your body and imprint your body with all the things, and that's mastery of the hands. Mastery of the heart is just something that you find. You can see it in other people and you can aspire to it, but it comes with putting all your focus and intention on all of those other phases and giving yourself fully into that idea. But the thing about mastery in general is encapsulated by this idea of mastery of the heart, is you have to accept it. You have to be able to say, yes, this is where I am. And if you ever experience that moment, it would be much easier because it is not common. And its rarity is part of its beauty. Because in knowing the experience, it makes you want to experience it again, which gives you further motivation to improve. So that's mastery of the heart. As before, we have a podcast that talks about the idea in general, and we have podcasts that talk about each phase of mastery, and in those podcasts we talk with a master in each. Please subscribe, which you can do right here. Also, if you look down here and expand the notes, you'll see links to the podcast itself. So check it out, and please let me know what you think, because I can't do what I do unless you help me, unless you participate. Please give me any feedback, especially if you have something that you want to talk about or you want me to talk about. And remember that in this time, when we do have time, we can have these conversations in a way we couldn't really have them before. This is the time to remind the world that bars are important. And because bars are important, bartenders are more important than ever. Please spread the word, and thank you very much.